Hello there, welcome back to Countdown to Bond, where we've reached number 3 in the Daniel Craig series. We're looking at 2012's Skyfall. Hello there, welcome to my world of stuff. My name is Paul Mount. It's a glorious day here in South Wales. It's absolutely chucking it down. It's really heaving it down. It feels like winter's on its way at last, and it is, of course. First things first, if you're interested in the content on this channel, if you've stumbled across this channel looking for Bond, James Bond, then why not like and subscribe? I do loads of stuff like this. Film reviews, DVD and Blu-ray reviews and unboxings, not the Doctor Who stuff if you're a Whovian. Oh, I know we hate that word. But yeah, have a look, like and subscribe, give it a thumbs up, and leave a comment, which will be really nice. I'm screeching towards 100 subscribers, which isn't much. I appreciate that. It's taken me a long time to get there, but it's just nice to think that there's people out there who interested in watching me waffling about things. So it would be nice to get those numbers up. When I get to 100, I'm going to do some sort of competition or giveaway. I don't know what yet. I was going to do it when I got to 50, but that sort of fizzled out. And months later, I've struggled up towards 100. So once I get there, I'm going to do a random giveaway thing. So that will apply to people who've left a comment on one of my videos. So leave a comment and you have a chance of winning something in a week's time or so when I eventually get up to 100 subscribers. So stay tuned, like and subscribe. Right, time for a bit of Bond action. As I said, we're looking at 2012's Skyfall. I've got to remember to keep calling it Skyfall rather than Spyfall, which was, of course, the title of a rather good Doctor Who two-parter from a couple of years ago. Skyfall, which I dug out last night and watched on my cinema system. I'd forgotten I actually have the Steelbook edition of this. I don't know where I picked it up, possibly a charity shop. If you've not seen it, that's the 2-discer. Which has the Blu-ray and the DVD, and it's got a little code thing which I can chuck away now. It's got some internal illustrations. So I bunged this one in the player. If you've been following this particular series as we head towards No Time to Die, which is out in a couple of days' time. In fact, I'll be seeing it midnight tomorrow as I record this. I've been reacquainting myself with Daniel Craig's James Bond films, and I'm really, really enjoying them. Now, I've been not exactly dismissive, but I think as a Bond, I can't say Bond, Beyond, as a Bond old school, not purist exactly, because I think purists are probably more appreciative of Ian Fleming's novels, which I've never read. But as a cinema purist of Bond, if you like, I'm more used to the Bond films being big and daft and silly, full of gadgets and corny jokes and mad supervillains who want to destroy the world. And I felt that Daniel Craig's films stripped all that away and created... And the idea was to create a Bond for our times, a Bond who's troubled and getting older and wondering if he fits in with the world. He's cold and dispassionate. And that to me didn't seem like what Bond should be. I think I've mentioned this in previous videos in this series, so I won't labour the point here. But watching these films again, they're a revelation how good they actually are. And I mean all of them. I even mean Quantum of Solace. If you see the previous Countdown to Bond video, I gave that a thumbs up. I thought that was actually not a bad little film. There were directorial problems, as I've mentioned. The action scenes and the pacing's a bit wonky, but I think it's a decent lean film. Much underrated and much maligned. But But I'm really, really enjoying seeing Daniel Craig as Bond, and I'm now appreciating the nuance and the edge that he gives to the character. And his performance is stunning, and he's become now my second favourite Bond. I mean, I think anybody who's watched Bond films from the beginning will always put Sean Connery on a bit of a pedestal. But I think Daniel Craig now leapfrogs over his successors and easily takes second place for me, because I think he gives the character an edge, a strange sort of charm about him, even though he's ruthless and largely humorless, but he's got a little wry twinkle occasionally when he makes a sort of a sly little comment. But anyway, that's generally my impressions of the whole Daniel Craig oeuvre so far. I've enjoyed each and every one of these films that I've watched, including Skyfall, which again I watched last night. I've seen it a few times, saw it in the cinema, I loved it at the cinema. I think at the time when I saw it in the cinema, and I reviewed it in print at the time, I enthused about it, possibly over-enthused about it. I think I gave it a 10 out of 10 rating, which I won't be doing today, because it was so nice to see a Bond film that felt more Bond-like. It had a bit more style, a bit more spectacle, and I think I'd let myself get swept up in that anti-Quantum of Solace wave. But watching it again last night, it's a great film. Skyfall is a great film, there's no doubt about it. But it's very interesting and unusual Bond film, because even though it's Bond, it isn't Bond, if you see what I mean. It doesn't have in any way the hallmarks of the classic Bond films. But I think what gives it the edge which sets it and set it apart is the fact that it is so well directed. It's a good script, and it continues what the Craig films do, in that it focuses on Bond and his world and the people in his world, as much as, if not more, than the bad guys and the evil that's out there that he's fighting against. The story of this, as you probably know, it starts off with this fantastic extended action sequence, which is just thrilling, which I think takes place in Turkey, where Bond is chasing this spy who has liberated a hard drive from a computer which has got all the secret details of the UK's undercover spies all over the world. Obviously, that puts UK security at severe risk, and Bond is tasked with getting this hard drive back. There follows a fantastic chase by bike and on foot and on a train, where Bond is locked in combat with this thief, and eventually Moneypenny, who's played by Naomi Harris, she is sort of in the field with Bond, and she is in a position to take a shot as Bond and the villain, whose name I think is Patrice, are fighting on top of a train. She realises that she's either going to hit Bond or she's going to hit Patrice. She hits Bond. And as we head into the title sequence, Bond plunges off the bridge into the water and appears to drown. There kicks in Adele's Skyfall song, which it's a nice piece. It is a good song. It is very Bondian. And I speak as somebody who's actually quite enjoyed the songs to the last two films. I think when you hear it in a better sound or bigger sound system, even Another Way to Die, I think, which was Quantum of Solace, even that's got something to it. It's not a great tune, but it has the production values of a Bond song. Skyfall is more in the tradition of one of Shirley Bassey's things like Diamonds Are Forever or Nobody Does It Better. It's mid-tempo ballad, and of course Adele was Flavour of the Month at the time, so it's a good choice, and it is a good, powerful song, which leads into the bulk of the rest of the film. And of course, the core plot is Bond goes into hiding. He's living on a remote island where he has a little bit of nookie with a nameless young lady, but eventually he's lured back into action when there's a terrorist attack at the heart of MI6 itself in London. Judi Dench was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. She always is, but she is so good as M. Her whole career is on the line because of the theft of this hard drive and the disappearance of Bond and the loss of various agents, and she's being forced into premature retirement by Gareth Mallory, played by Ralph Fiennes. And Bond comes back to London because, despite it all, he has a certain respect for M, and he knows that her life's in danger and he can't just let that happen. What transpires then is an extraordinary adventure, which is really all about the MI6 and M and Bond. The villain is Raul de Silva, I think it's de Silva or Silva, who's played with creeping menace by Javier Bardem. His secret is that he is actually an ex-MI6 agent who was left to die out in the field. He took a cyanide capsule which has deformed him slightly, but he's gone mad and he's determined to get revenge on M, who he feels has betrayed him. And that's basically the core of the story. It's his battle with M, his grudge against M, and how he'll stop at nothing to destroy her, and presumably bring down MI6 as well. This involves numerous fantastic set pieces, of course. There's a great fight sequence in a casino where Bond takes on a few goons, and there's a nice little nod there to Live and Let Die, the first Roger Moore film. And eventually De Silva is captured, he's brought back to MI6, but he escapes and then causes chaos. M is at a government inquiry into her incompetence, which is compromised when Silva and his goons attack and slaughter lots of the people on the committee. And then Bond has to step up and take M to a place of safety, and the only place he can think of is his own old ancestral home, Skyfall, up in the Highlands of Scotland. But Silva and his henchmen aren't far behind, and it sets up a huge and explosive climax, which involves the return of the Aston Martin, yay, and some very well directed action sequences and some real tension, drama and tragedy. So it's a great film. I've seen it a few times. I saw it in the cinema when it came out. I've seen it since on physical media. I haven't seen it for years though, because as I said, I haven't been in a Bond mood because Bond's been off grid for so long. But of course, it's always the same thing. When there's a new Bond film out, there's always this sort of hype and expectation, and it does draw you back to the old films of the series. This is a great film, but I was watching it again last night thinking it is a great film, but it doesn't feel like a classic Bond film, because it isn't. They're not going for that vibe. It's very much a personal story. And it develops the theme that we've had across those Craig stories, really, of Bond's relationship with M. There is that quite telling line, I think it's in Quantum of Solace, where there's an attempt to assassinate M, and there's this little joke about whether, is she your mother? Well, she thinks she is. And I think it's a very close relationship he has with them. They have a grudging respect for one another. And I think that's what gives this film its emotional core, because you see that very tellingly in the last act. And it does raise the hair on the back of your neck at the final scene where, spoilers for anybody who hasn't seen it, but I'm assuming that anybody who's watching this video has seen all these films. The new M is Mallory, played by Ralph Fiennes, and he calls Bond in and says, you ready to get back into action? And he sort of sets off Bond on a new chapter in his life. Skyfall is a great film. I think you go into it, if you're expecting all the trappings of Bond, you don't get that, because that's not what these films are doing now. They're doing these stories, they're exploring Bond, they're digging a little bit deeper into the character of the man and his family and his background. And whether you want that from Bond, I always thought I didn't. I just thought what I liked about Bond was the fact that he's this super agent who has extraordinary adventures, but you don't need to know his backstory. But I think, we're living in a different age now. It's hard to sell a drama without getting into some character stuff. And I think it works superbly well in Skyfall, which is a magnificent film. It's just so beautifully made. Sam Mendes directs it brilliantly. So brilliantly, of course, that it was the biggest, it's been the biggest Bond film of all time, with well over $1 billion at the worldwide box office. So it's not entirely surprising that they were keen to get Sam Mendes back for the follow-up Spectre. But that's another story, and that's what I'll be looking at in the next video. I'm watching that tonight, and I'll post a video tomorrow, because I want to get these all up online before I see No Time to Die, which I'll be reviewing on Thursday. So a busy old week for videos. So that's Skyfall, which gets from me a big chunky 9 out of 10. It's just a rush of a film. It's just great, and I'm really, really enjoying seeing Daniel Craig as Bond. I think he's great. He's just great, and I've never thought he was great until this rewatch. So I'm really pleased to have had the chance to look back at his work again. Right, that's me done for now. Don't forget, like and subscribe, thumbs up, comment, all that sort of caper, because that does wonders for the channel. And I'd like to keep the channel going because it's fun to do. So that's it for now. Join me tomorrow for Spectre. And until then, and until next time, you know what they say. Keep taking the stuff. Bye.